Tennessee looks to get better on the offensive line. The Vols hosting several prospects this weekend as a great coverage for the first junior day by Caleb Giroux. That is on offthehooksports.com right now. Also, could Tennessee be in the running for one of those Alabama players that's jumping ship as fast as they possibly can as the Crimson Tide big red vessel tends to go down in flames as what it's doing right now? So let's take a look at the visitors. And then I did a little bit of research on these guys as well as Caleb Giroux so we can give you some insight. Let's start with four-star wide receiver Marcus Harris. And that's the wrong element. Four-star wide receiver Marcus Harris.
Hey now.
All right, he's out of California, expected to be in Knoxville this weekend. Is this the effect? I think it is. I think Tennessee becomes a presence in California again. I think the Vols have a shot at Marcus Harris because of landing a guy like Nico. And you'll see more guys continue to come from the West Coast. You'll see more players be open to making that big move. I think this one's a pretty significant one before we get to the quarterback that everybody's looking for. Harris in California would be a monster pickup.
Yes, and actually, it's not the Nico effect that will get him, although it'll help. It's the Brew effect that's going to get him that could get him to Knoxville. Marcus Harris comes from Mater Dei High School, which is where Brew came out of. Dave, you probably know Mater Dei High School. That is one of the best high schools for football talent in the country. I mean, that is a factory for football talent. And this was big for Josh Heupel to get Brew McCoy to transfer when he comes from Mater Dei. Nico throwing to Brew McCoy this year, that would be the selling point for Marcus Harris. Now, he's 5'11 and a half. I don't know if he's going to grow into a wideout if he'll stay a slot guy. But yeah, these are the type of players that you want for Tennessee.
Now we're talking about all 2025 guys on this list, by the way. He's the number 10 wide receiver in the class, the number 9 prospect from California. He has visits slated for Miami and Alabama to round out his winter. Texas, Penn State, and Colorado are other contenders for Harris. And then George McIntyre. Talked to a source in the mid-state area. He is a quarterback, 6'5.5", 182-pound quarterback, expected to be in Knoxville this weekend. Brentwood Academy. I think that he's going to be a Vol sooner than later based off those that I've talked to.
Yeah, I would be really, really shocked if he was not a Vol at this point. It was down to Tennessee and Alabama, and obviously we know what's happened at Alabama. One of the things that really stands out to me is I know Tennessee was entertaining Nico Iamaleava's brother, Madden Iamaleava, but it sounds like Madden is looking elsewhere, and a lot of the reason people think that is because it seems like George McIntyre is a lock for Tennessee. So I don't think Tennessee is going to get Nico's younger brother, and I don't think they want Nico's younger brother. They want George McIntyre.
Well, I mean, let's be honest too. I mean, you've got Tua Tagovailoa's younger brother that's played in college. I'm sorry,
Talia. Yeah, his name's Talia.
Yeah, you don't have. It's not a guarantee that you're going to be the Kelsey brothers and both are going to be elite players, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. And the poor Kelsey brothers, you bring that up. Only one of them's attractive enough to date Taylor Swift.
Now, let me give you a little bit of insight. Now, while we think McIntyre's just a slam dunk, look for this guy to be a factor. His name's Jared Curtis. He's Nashville Christian School. He's in the 2026 class. And right now, he is the number 1 ranked prospect in the nation. Committed to Georgia at this point. We'll see how things work out. It's going to be a tough pull. I think it's Nico, then McIntyre, then somebody else. But just watch Jared Curtis. I mean, I think it's well worth watching. He's in the Nashville area. If Tennessee's suddenly an 11-win regular season team, college football playoff, somewhere close to Georgia, I was just told to keep an eye on him. And then that could affect the McIntyre thing. Again, you can take a quarterback in every class, but you probably can't have depth because they're going to transfer out if they can't play. So visitors this weekend, 4-star athlete Cameron Sparks, your interest. He is expected to be on campus out of Baylor School in Chattanooga. Number 40 prospect overall, number 1 athlete in the class. This is kind of sounds like Boo Carter Part 2. He was a 4-star athlete prospect as well. Georgia is in the running for Sparks. Looks like he's going to be an offensive player, according to Caleb Giroux, being recruited by several different schools for different positions. Thoughts on Sparks?
This is where this is where Nick Saban's retirement becomes a huge deal, which is recruiting the Chattanooga area. I've told you guys for a while, Alabama has a unique pipeline into the southern Tennessee area. They always have. Tennessee has never been able to have the in-state advantage with those guys. They've always had to fight for them. And that goes back to the 1960s and 1950s. Ask Philip Fulmer. He almost went to play for Bear Bryant in the 1960s. So this is a old recruiting ground that people fight for. Notice, guys, Alabama is not one of the top 2 schools on the list. It's now Georgia. Now, what Tennessee has to do with Alabama out of the way, they can't let Georgia develop a pipeline into Chattanooga. They cannot let that happen. That is, they need a fence around that now, because there's always good talent that comes out of there. And we can talk about the damage that Derek Dooley did with the pipeline by not recruiting Von Bell out of there. And that did more damage than it was worth.
It is closer to Memphis than it is Knoxville right now. When you go to Chattanooga, Memphis is practically out of the state because of fan allegiances. Chattanooga is about that way, with people jumping on board the bandwagon of Georgia, Alabama, because their success lately. Tennessee is almost a secondary school in some people's mind. Before we get to a 5-star offensive tackle, let me take a second to tell you about Apex Apparel Group. Design, brand, market your way. Unique products to promote your business with unparalleled customer service. They can do cups, shirts, mugs, whatever you need. Call Tyler, 865-919-3001, 865-919-3001. Again, that is Apex Apparel Group. They will certainly take care of you. And then we have the 5-star offensive tackle out of Charlotte, and he looks like a pretty good player, David Sanders Jr., no relation to Dion that we know of. Your thoughts on David? By the way, David, Davis, or Dave, how would you rank those 3 names?
I'm not doing this. Not doing this. I refuse.
Okay. David Sanders, tell me, he is he's going to be in town out of Charlotte, number 2 prospect overall, number 1 offensive tackle. Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia are some of the top schools for him. I love his frame, 6'6", 270 pounds. So he's pretty light on his feet from the tape that I've seen, and he's going to grow into a 300-pounder at 6'6", pretty easy. So I really like this guy. You could make an argument that other than McIntyre, this would be the guy that they would most want to sign up and commit today.
Absolutely, this would. And I'm just going to tell you it's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure he's going to end up at Georgia.
Well, aren't you just Mr. Ray of Sunshine?
I'm sorry. Where would you go if you were him? You're not going to Clemson. You're not going to Alabama. You're going to Georgia, and you're not going to Ohio State for something we'll talk about later. He's going to end up at Georgia. He's going to end up at Georgia, guys. That's just a fact.
That's not a fact. A little early, isn't it?
No, he's going. You want to bet?
No, I don't, Campbell. Exactly. 4-star cornerback. I've got other vices. 4-star cornerback, Jabari Antoine, a 4-star out of Louisiana. He's the number 52 prospect in the 2025 class, number 8 cornerback. LSU and Texas A&M have momentum, we're told. But we'll see. Tennessee has had success in Louisiana, some, very little, like most schools. You and I've said it before. If LSU wants you and you're in Louisiana, usually stay at LSU. So I think that's a bit of a stretch, but he's on campus, and that's a great start.
Yeah, and if Jordan Matthews makes an emergence this year, I mean, that could definitely help. That could help out to a certain degree with him. I mean, look, we can say this. Tennessee has limited success in getting kids out of Louisiana, but they haven't seen success with the kids on their team from Louisiana. I mean, Louisiana kids. There was this guy named Peyton Manning from Louisiana that
I forgot
Tennessee
about
got.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got him out of
four-star
Louisiana.
cornerback Onis Konanbanny. He's
So
out of Columbia, South Carolina. The number 2 prospect from South Carolina, number 253 overall. Looks like North Carolina, Georgia, and Ohio State. Does Tennessee have a strong play for him? Yeah, I would think so. I like the fact that he's 6'2" as a corner, personally.
This is the type of corner that Tennessee probably has the best chance to go for, like a solid corner that could develop, but somebody that Georgia's not going to roll out the red carpet for. You know what I'm talking about? These are the type of guys you have to kind of get if you're Tennessee in the secondary. You're just not going to get the cornerbacks that people roll out the red carpet for, given the system they run. So you get the guys that can be serviceable, and I think he's somebody that could be serviceable. He's only a 3-star on actual 247 Sports, but 247 Sports Composite has him as a 4-star. So I think we're looking at a developmental project here, which I think that's fine. That's if that's your weakness, that's fine. And also, again, Tennessee, if they can get the right pressure from up front, those are the only type of cornerbacks they need to get.
Okay, we got another 4-star. First, I want to tell you about Don Self, your State Farm agent in the Chattanooga area. Do me a favor, call Don Self because customer service still matters. He's been in the biz for over 40 years. DonSelf.net, DonSelf.net. That's right below. Everybody's price shopping, and I get that. But if you want somebody with fantastic customer service in the Chattanooga area, it's Don Self, your State Farm agent, because customer service still matters. Don Self is phenomenal, and he will take care of you. So another 4-star prospect, Jaden Harmon, out of Rome High School in Georgia. He will be in town. 151 prospect nationally, number 18 linebacker in the 2025 class. Auburn, LSU, and Ole Miss, or some SEC schools in the race for Harmon.
Yes, I believe he would probably be another edge rusher. And I've told you guys, Tennessee is edge rusher U. It's a very attractive school for edge rushers at this point. So I think Tennessee could very much be in play for him. I do think Auburn, my bet would be Auburn is the biggest threat, because Auburn's another school that, given Hugh Freeze's system, there's going to be edge rushers that thrive in there. So I think it's going to come down to Tennessee and Auburn, believe it or not. Very early projection, but that's just my prediction.
Tennessee and Auburn, just on the surface, not knowing if he has any connections to either school, I would probably take Tennessee. 3-star cornerback. Okay, we're gonna have to run through some of these. 3-star cornerback Tyler Redmond, 3-star cornerback Dylan Lewis. Redmond committed to Tennessee in November, so he'll be in town. That's great. He's not really highly rated, so if I'm Redmond, I'm continuing to work on my game to make sure that scholarship is available. Dylan Lewis is another Tennessee commitment out of Milton High School. He'll be in town. 5-star cornerback Naeem offered me. Huh? Or he has been offered.
He's not going to end up. He won't go to Tennessee. He's from Alabama, and he's being targeted by.
He's been offered by Tennessee. Get it?
I know.
Offered.
But he's not going to Tennessee, guys. We could just say that right out loud. He's from Alabama.
You are just shutting down too many guys too early, Caleb.
I know who's going to. I know who Tennessee recruits. I know who they draw interest from, and I know their connections with how this is going to work. He's not going to end up in Tennessee unless Tennessee opens up the NIL red carpet for him. Let's go. Fact.
We actually have a panel of recruitniks who help us, along with Caleb Giroux, cover recruiting. Let me ask them real quick. What's your take on Caleb being so negative?
You suck. Yeah,
it is a football Friday. 4-star cornerback Jonte Gilbert out of Georgia seems like a tough.
That's a Clemson guy.
Excuse me.
He's a lock for Clemson.
Well, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there. Interrupting me. He has 2 crystal ball projections to Clemson. It seems that way. I don't think any of these guys you can project yet. I'm just going to be real frank with you. This is too early in the process. 4-star wide receiver Travis Smith Jr. He's expected to be in this weekend. He is the number 26.
That is a real chance. Tennessee is a strong contender for him.
Okay, number 20. I'm going to let you weigh in. Number 26 prospect out of Georgia, 22 scholarship offers, including offers from Georgia, Auburn, and Colorado. Why do you think that Tennessee is in the running for this young man? who's 6'4". I like that. I like hype in receivers.
Yeah, he's Tennessee needs wideouts for the future. They're a little bit behind, and so they're going to go for a guy like Travis Smith Jr. That's another one that I think is going to come down to Tennessee and Auburn. And while the Rome, Georgia kid we talked about, Jaden Harmon Rome is a little bit more Auburn country. I think Atlanta is more Tennessee country. I think Tennessee has Atlanta on a stronger lock than Auburn does, quite honestly. So I think Travis Smith Jr. is a very, very strong possibility to end up at Tennessee, largely because it doesn't seem like George is going after him that hard. And again, wide receivers are going to love Tennessee. So
No, I completely agree with that. We have another 4-star prospect that I want to get to, brought to you in part by Tennessee Cider Company, the original hard cider of the Smoky Mountains. Use the promo code HAT, that's HAT, to receive some free swag with your cider order, available most anywhere in the United States of America. So we have another 4-star that will be in town. This is a really impressive list. 4-star, a 4-star interior offensive lineman, Leo Delaney, expected to be in Knoxville this weekend. 6'6", 270-pound offensive lineman. Isn't currently ranked by 247 Sports, but 247 ranks him as by the composite, I should say. But 247 Sports ranks him as the number 28 prospect overall. So with the composite, probably ESPN or somebody isn't in yet. But he's a 4-star guy. South Carolina, NC State, North Carolina among the 13 schools that have offered Delaney. Anything on him?
This is a 2026 prospect. So It's hard to rate him at this point.
You've already got it figured out, Caleb.
No, I do not already have it figured out. I do believe this is probably I wonder if he and David Sanders Jr. are kind of committed together. So it could be based on that. So I can't really I don't have a read on him yet. I'll just say that.
3-star cornerback Timothy. He has merit. Timothy Merritt, 3-star cornerback, expected to be in town. He is 409 prospect overall, the number 45 prospect in the 2025 class. Offers from Arkansas, Ole Miss, Auburn, and Mississippi State. Again, size, 6'2". I like that. About 180 pounds. So this is a big weekend for Tennessee. It's going to be a big weekend for a lot of schools coming up. And I'm going to tell you next what Alabama needs to do to be successful under Kalen DeBoer. I'm not going to
before we do that, let's stay. There's a guy who outweighs every single person visiting this weekend.
Who did I forget?
He's not visiting. Alabama offensive lineman Kadyn Proctor entering the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Kadyn Proctor. He is in the portal. Does Tennessee have a chance? An offensive lineman. We still don't know 100% what's going to happen with Hurd. So is Kadyn Proctor a guy that could step in? And if nothing else, give Tennessee a little bit of leverage on Hurd to say, hey, you need to pull the trigger or we could get Proctor. I say yay.
I think that's a huge bit of leverage for Tennessee. Yes, I think in Kadyn Proctor, like this is your generational left tackle, Dave. This is your Darnell Wright. And that's, I mean, he's that level of talent. Okay, get Kadyn Proctor if you can. He is a potential huge home run. This is a guy you open up the NIL checkbook for, even more than Lance Hurd. You open it up for Kadyn Proctor, and then you have then you're right, you have leverage. Here's a question, Dave. Would you rather get it, if you're Tennessee, would you rather have a commitment from Proctor or a commitment from 3 of the guys from this weekend that are visiting? I think Proctor outweighs 3.
Well, am I losing the rest of them, or are you just saying, like, am I not getting McIntyre? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, would you sacrifice McIntyre for Proctor this year?
No.
I would.
It's close, and I understand that. I understand why you would. I do.
You put I do believe in putting everything into 2024. I am a win now guy, and you don't sacrifice win now for the future. Ever, 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 ever.
Okay. I can roll with that.